breaking news. A disaster zone has been declared in Hawaii by President Biden this morning after those devastating wildfires. As we go to air, the search is underway in Maui for survivors. So far, 36 people have been confirmed dead. Let's go to US correspondent Miley Hogan, who's at an evacuation centre in Maui. Miley, the death toll, unfortunately, is expected to rise.
Well, Shervo, that is the fear, but it is going to be some time until the death toll is finalised. There are a few things holding up that figure. Of course, authorities are still fighting fires. The majority of those are contained, but there have been isolated flare-ups, and they have a huge task on their hands with the clean-up and the search. They haven't been able to get into some areas because the damage is so bad. They'll be focusing on that today, getting into those areas that have been destroyed and damaged by fire. They'll be looking at the structural damage, but of course they have the harrowing task of searching through those areas to see if there are any bodies. The focus at the moment, though, is also on these evacuation centres. There are a number around Maui and they are full at capacity. The one we're at here is so full that people have been forced outside and are sleeping on blow-up mattresses out here on the concrete. It has been very busy here this morning. People have been coming down to volunteer, dropping off supplies, but also they are looking for loved ones. They are searching for family members that they have not been able to contact.
But we saved our 2 dogs, so.
And your house?
Gone. Burnt to a crisp.
I couldn't run. The ashes were flying directly at me, and then I jumped into the water and held on for as long as I could.
It is very emotional at these evacuation centres. Everyone here has a story to tell and people keep on arriving. Authorities are also working to get tourists off the island. Busloads are being picked up from hotels and taken to the airport as they try to get those people out so they can focus their resources on the locals who live here and need it so much. Shervo?
Yeah, just horrific. You can see young families behind you there, Miley, just not knowing when they're going to be able to leave those evacuation centres and let alone what they're going to go back to. Thank you. Here's Nat.
Yeah, awful scenes, aren't they? Thanks, Shervo. In breaking news back home, emergency services are on scene after a shop went up in flames in Melbourne's southwest. Live to Tegan Doling at Hoppers Crossing. Tegan, police treating this as suspicious.
Yeah, good morning, Nat. They are. It was around 4 a.m. when firefighters were called to Hogan's Corner shopping centre here in Hoppers Crossing. When they arrived, they found the tobacco store well alight. It's a little bit hard to see here behind me, but it's underneath the Hogan's Corner shopping centre sign there. They had to work very hard to obviously put out the blaze, but to also prevent it spreading to the Woolworths next door. There's quite a few workers who are down here trying to get into the grocery store at the moment. Now, they need to determine the cause, even though a lot of the firefighters have since left and we've been able to creep a little bit closer. This is the start of the police investigation because they do believe that it could be suspicious. Obviously, they need to get inside this morning to determine the cause. They're waiting for the arson chemist to arrive down here on scene, and there's a whole lot of security cameras down here they'll be looking at, Nat, to try and determine who and why this blaze was lit and if it's connected to any other suspicious fires recently.
OK, thank you, Tegan.
Let's get some more news now. Morning, Eddie.
Morning to you, Shervo. Morning, everyone. A man will today face a Brisbane court charged with the murders of his wife and their 11-week-old baby girl in what's thought to be a domestic violence attack in Queensland. Let's go live to Rosanna Kingston at the scene in Rockhampton. Rosanna, police found their bodies inside that home.
Yes, here on Bean Street, where they came to do a welfare check just before 11 a.m. yesterday morning. Inside, police say, was a confronting scene. That's where they found the bodies of Taylor Cox, who is 30 years old, and her 11-week-old baby girl, Murphy. They are believed to have been murdered 3 days ago on Tuesday afternoon, allegedly by husband and father Matthew Cox. Police say that he flew to Brisbane and then went into the Fortitude Valley Police Station yesterday morning and allegedly confessed. Investigators say there was no domestic violence history between the pair. Cox is expected to face the Brisbane Magistrates Court this morning. His family have released a statement saying they are absolutely devastated to have lost a beautiful daughter-in-law and a much-loved granddaughter, and they are in a state of shock. Taylor's uncle came to the scene yesterday to see his niece's house. He was visibly distressed. Police investigators and forensic officers will be here at the scene for some time still, trying to piece together what happened and a timeline for this horrific tragedy.
Thank you, Rosanna. A driver's been killed in a fiery crash in Melbourne's northeast. Police are trying to piece together the moments in the lead up to the incident at Kangaroo Ground, responding to reports a car crashed and then caught on fire. The blaze was extinguished by fire crews, but the driver couldn't be saved. A driver has bystanders and a passing ambulance crew to thank this morning for pulling him out of a car moments before it was completely swallowed by flames in Sydney's west. Let's go live to Liam Tapper at the scene in Winston Hills. Liam, he'd just been involved in a really nasty crash there.
Yeah, he certainly had, Eddie, and we understand that he was driving at quite a fast speed along Old Windsor Road out here in Sydney's west. It happened at around midnight last night. We understand that he clipped the side of another car that he was driving next to before he's careered off into the median strip. Now, that is when this car, a white Hyundai, was engulfed in flames. The impact was so heavy that parts of the engine were thrown about 30 to 40 metres down the road. Now, he has paramedics to thank this morning because it just so happened to be that they were driving past at the time. That's when they've stopped and they've pulled him out of the wreckage before that car went up in flames. Now, there were also a number of people driving along Old Windsor Road. This is quite a main road that we have here in Sydney. So they also helped the 18-year-old out of the vehicle. But just how this happened, we understand, I've been told some new information just recently that there were a number of calls to police, complaints about drivers driving at high speeds along the Old Windsor Road. So no doubt that will form part of the police investigation. But that 18-year-old Eddie, he remains in Westmead Hospital this morning with a number of injuries.
Thank you, Liam. Outgoing RBA Governor Philip Lowe is due to face his final public grilling by federal MPs today. The House Economics Committee is likely to probe the impacts of rapid interest rate rises on workers and home buyers across Australia. In his previous appearance in February, Lowe had already acknowledged some were already feeling the pain of the aggressive monetary policy. Incoming Governor Michelle Bullock will also appear. Well, Brisbane is the entertainment capital of the country this weekend. Excitement is ramping up for the Matildas clash, of course, and the iconic Ekka begins tomorrow. Let's go to Georgie Chumley, who's soaking it all up with some exclusive access. What do you have for us now, Georgie? The famous Strawberry Sundae.
Good morning, Eddie. That's right. If you ever needed an excuse to have ice cream for breakfast, this is it. We're here at the Strawberry Sundae stand and we're with Chloe. She's going to tell us how you make these beautiful strawberry sundaes. Chloe, what are the steps?
So we start with a scoop of the Ekka white ice cream in the bottom because we need to hold these incredible juicy strawberries on top.
And then we've got some delicious locally made strawberry ice cream. That goes on top. Now, I was told, Chloe was mentioning to me before, they actually put their order in at 6 p.m. the night before. Then the strawberry pickers, 80 of them, go out and pick those strawberries. And then they deliver them by 3 a.m. so they can be chopped up and put into these delicious strawberry sundaes. I know, it's pretty incredible. And there are around 150,000 that are sold throughout the 9 days of the Ekka. So I certainly will be enjoying this one this morning. It is an icon of the Ekka, and thank you very much, Claire. I might have that now. Ice cream for breakfast. Thank you, guys.
Hope you put
I
your
lost
order
the
in.
strawberry.
Still good. 3 seconds on the ground.
I got some on my nose.
Looks delicious, Georgie.
Delicious,
Thank you. Virgin Galactic has this morning reached the edge of space in its first ever space tourist flight. Antigua's Keisha Shafe and her daughter Anastasia travelled alongside a British former Olympic canoeist on Virgin Galactic's Unity space plane.
It's amazing. They're all going to the window and taking in this just absolutely incredible view of Earth.
Keisha and Anastasia actually won their place on board in a competition. Their co-astronaut John Goodwin is 80 years old and bought his ticket for nearly $390,000 in 2005. Do you reckon John was like, guys, I paid for this, get away from the window? You just won a raffle?
I paid almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, which is a discount. I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but he got a good deal because he paid ahead, whereas a lot more
Still better
expensive
than
now.
some airline delays.
Yeah.